Canadian Auto Workers is work with our laid-off members. And just this morning, I was up at one of those action centers for the workers at PMP. Some of you may have heard of that particular workplace. One of the things that astounds me about those folks is that they maintain their optimism, where most of us would be looking at dismal grounds and landscapes. They, in fact, do see the green shoots, and this, to me, is pretty amazing that they've kept their optimism given what they're facing. Because these are some of the same people, they've all run out of their EI benefits. These are the same people who are maxing out credit cards to pay, in some cases, for rent. These are people who dipping into whatever savings or RSPs they may happen to have to pay for retraining. This is very, very wrong. Labor worries, I guess, on three fronts with the recession. The big picture. There's lots of international folks out there too who join us in saying we're not out of the woods yet. We do not know yet where the economy is headed. And then for those who have already been hit by the recession, we have the fallout, those discouraged workers who cannot find work, and those who can, but who end up in what we might call survival jobs, certainly very precarious employment, temp agency work, part-time jobs, and the like. Labor's response has focused on a couple of issues. One, of course, is unemployment insurance. We have the long-term task in front of us. It doesn't even take a long time to do it. But the very fundamental restructuring that has to happen with the hour system so that more people can get in. We have proposed 360, but also restructuring the hours system, as they call it, so that those who do qualify get it for an adequate period of time. And then, of course, there's the issue of adequate benefits. For most people, it is simply not enough. There are some temporary projects out there right now. They need to be maintained. And secondly, on pensions and seniors' income, we're calling for doubling the CPP and increasing, as an anti-poverty measure, both the income supplement and the basic old age security. Both of these are really, really essential. Stats Canada says that over a third of those now aged 45 to 65 are at risk of poverty as they age.
Thanks. Many of you have been our partners in Campaign 2000, raising the issue of child and family poverty. Indeed, as you know, our children will grow if they're healthy and resilient to become our future citizens, leaders, and labor force. So let's not forget them. We haven't made much progress in 2 decades. We still have about 1 in 10 children, 637,000 in this country living in poverty, and 4 out of 10 of them lives in a family where at least one parent does work full-time. So together with many of our partners, we've proposed changes to EI, increasing work tax credit, of course, a national affordable housing plan, and a system of early childhood education and care services, as well as proactive strategies, including employment equity in the public and private sectors to level the playing field for racialized communities and other historic disadvantaged groups. But today, I want to remind you, we've moved the yardstick a bit thanks to the initiative of Tony Martin and the rest of our members of Parliament. Last November was the 20th anniversary of the All-Party Resolution to End Child Poverty, and on that day, November 24th, all members of the House voted to develop an immediate plan to eliminate poverty in Canada for all. So I want to hear from them this afternoon what each of the parties will be doing to move on that commitment. We hope one of the first things they'll do will be to increase that child benefit so that a family working full-time in this country and receiving a child benefit has a fighting chance of getting above the poverty line. Thank you.
know about the federal government and housing. First of all, you should know that no matter how you measure it, the federal government's commitment to affordable housing investment is shrinking. By the year 2013, under the current plans of the government, federal housing program spending will be cut by 18%. The Federal Affordable Housing Initiative will shrink to just $1 million across the entire country, and funding will be cut to zero for the National Homelessness Initiative and the National Housing Repair Plan. Here's the second thing you should know about the federal government and housing. The federal government has made some significant promises about housing in the last year or so, but we don't know if that money has actually been spent, and we don't know how it's been spent. The federal government has promised about $2 billion in affordable housing initiatives. In November, Federal Housing Minister Diane Finley said that 3% of that funding had actually been allocated. 3 weeks later, the federal government said, well, actually, we spent $725 million. The fact is, we don't know how much money. There's no public accountability for the housing investments. And the third thing you should know about federal government and housing is that Canada is the only major country in the world without a national housing plan. The United States has one. President Obama, in his latest federal budget, is capitalizing a new U.S. National Housing Trust Fund. Britain has one. They've made a $3.1 billion investment, and they're building Britain's future housing plan. Australia has had a national housing plan since 1945, regularly renegotiated. In Canada, we're the closest we've been in 3 decades to getting a national housing plan. This is the good news. With a private member's bill that's currently before Parliament called Bill C-304, proposed by Vancouver East MP Libby Davies, and with the support of the Liberals and the Bloc and the Lone Conservative, and of course the Democratic Party during the second reading debate. Once Parliament resumes in March, this bill is scheduled to come back to the Commons Human Committee, and the single most important thing that our members of Parliament, our federal representatives, could do is move this bill forward quickly to third and final reading, to amend it, get it through the Senate, and move towards creating a national housing plan for Canada. Thank you.